Okay, so next up is our neckband construction, and this is custom cotton lycra, so it keeps rolling. So I'm going to want to half this, so fold it in half lengthwise so that wrong sides are together, and pin it in place. It's very rolly, so excuse me while I fight with it a little bit. I really like having fun prints on the outside of these reversible jackets and then kind of a solid of sort on the inside so that my kids can have just a wonderful fun one sometimes, but can also use it as a basic. That's how I like to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to also place a pin at the halfway mark of the band, which is right about here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my jacket around so that I'm working on the main fabric. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin, you can use a fabric marker if you'd like, and I'm going to make a mark a 1/2 inch from the edge, from the front edge of my jacket, okay, on the neckline. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And this is going to be where we're going to stop the attachment because we need that 1/2 inch to account for our zipper, okay? So I'm gonna take this band, I'm going to flip it, I'm gonna put it right sides together. First, I'm going to pin it in the center back with my center pin. Then I'm going to pin the very front. I want the very tip of this neckband to be laying right on that 1/2 inch mark that I made. Oops, of course, I didn't go through all the layers. Right on that 1/2 inch mark, okay? And so now I'm going to stretch it, stretch the band to fit, and I'm going to add extra pins here. Now, I think that it is extremely important in this step to add as many pins as possible. Because you want your finished product to come out well. Okay, and so this curved area is going to lay flat while you're sewing it to the neckband, or excuse me, to the neckline. So now we're gonna do the same thing to the other end. I'm going to take the tip here of this neckband, line it up with that 1/2 inch mark I made. And there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now I have that pinned against the right side of my main fabric. It's difficult, but you're gonna wanna make sure that the tip here of this neckband it just doesn't shift, because if it goes down like that at all, it's gonna be sticking, the edge of it is gonna be sticking up after we sew it. So do what you can to make sure that that is secured really well. There, okay. So now what we're going to do is another handy dandy burrito method. So let me turn this around, upside down, and we're going to flip this part of the jacket to the inside, and we're going to flip out the lining fabric so that we can see the neckline, okay? just like we did in the hemband step. So put that all there in between, okay? And now we are going to add this lining fabric to our layers, okay? I'm actually going to turn this around the other way so it's a little bit easier so I can use my existing pins. Line up the front edge. Oops, see that? I lost the neckband. You need a 1/2 inch on the lining fabric side too. I find this step to be the most monotonous, but man, the finished product is so cute. It's not hard, right? It just takes a little bit of patience. Which is why we rated this as intermediate, because you can't really skip the steps, right, of doing the right thing on this one. Actually pin this one first. Go. And now around to the front. I love figuring out construction for garments. It really challenges the brain of mine. I can't tell you how many of these I've sewn up just to get the perfect construction. See, that was poorly done, so I need to just stop and readjust. Okay, so last pin, and now I am ready to sew. So now I'm going to sew from the very edge of this, and I'm actually going to pin that together because I want to make sure that the beginning doesn't shift. From the very beginning, even that extra 1/2 inch, I'm going to sew all the way around the neckline. And as I sew, I'm going to have to stretch it slightly so that the band lays straight in between. I find that this step is a little tricky only because I have all this bulk right here and I need to push it out of the way of my serger. So I need to just make sure that I am being aware and not just sewing all willy-nilly. Okay, there we go. We caught it, that's perfect. Where are my, oh, here we go. Oops. Now the great thing about this being fully reversible is if you do miss any parts for some reason when you're sewing this, like if you miss any layers or have any kind of gaps in your sewing, you can go back and correct it really easily. it's gonna be concealed anyway, right? When you flip it. So here we go. Let me just make sure that all of it got caught correctly. It looks like it did. I'm gonna pull out my pins. Go. And so now I'm going to flip it all around. And I'm going to just check to make sure that none of my band got missed. See that? Look at how beautiful that is. All of it got included in the seam. Oh, except for that. You see that little part right there? So all I have to do, so there's, if you can't see it, there's this little part of fabric here that got missed on the main fabric. So all I have to do is I have to go along the inside here. I can find that spot and I can just go and reinforce that stitch in that one area. Fix that, and again, it's going to be concealed, so all done. Corrected it, and that was the only spot it looked like. And so now I am almost finished. See that? Look at how beautiful that looks. Make sure your pockets are flipped to the front. And, oh man, this looks so pretty. Okay, so next up is going to be the zipper installation, and then we are all done.